Hey, good morning, everybody. I have a question for you. What comes to mind when you hear the word wealth? For most people, it's money. You know, a bigger house, a nice truck, or a nicer truck. Maybe it's a promotion. Maybe it's a bigger retirement account for a long time. That's what I thought too. But somewhere along the line, well, our definition of wealth changed. And honestly, I wish someone had taught me this before I turned 18. Now, don't misunderstand me. Money matters. You know, obviously, it pays the mortgage, it buys the feed, it fixes, any tractors, it puts food on the table. We're incredibly thankful for that. Every person who watches our videos, every person who bought our children's book, every person who encourages our family, thank you, because it's a reality check, especially for the kiddos. They're like, wow, this, anything is possible, right? Look at Arnold. He's just living the dream. Money's a wonderful servant, and it's a terrible master. Money's not wealth. I don't care who you are. It's simply one of the tools God gives us to build the life He's called us to live, right? I still believe in the American dream. I just think we've forgotten what it was supposed to be. It wasn't about owning more than everyone else. It wasn't about chasing the biggest paycheck until you're too old to enjoy it. To me, the American dream is having the freedom to build a meaningful life, right? I mean, to work with your hands, to raise your children well, to know your neighbors, to worship God freely, wherever that may be. Most of the world, you can't do that. I've been to the other side of the world and I've seen some things, okay? To leave your children something far more valuable than money at the end of the day, okay? Because money's great and all, but I'm telling you, every morning our kids, they can gather their chicken eggs, the duck eggs, they know which animals, the bucky to watch out for, or the broody hens, things of that nature. They know, which ducks are laying. They know, the chicks, they've seen them hatch, they've watched ducklings grow. Guys, that's not chores, okay? That's memories. That's life lessons. They're learning responsibility without even realizing it. I wish someone had taught me these things when I was younger, how to change oil, how to rotate your tires, how do you sharpen a chainsaw, how do you repair a fence? A lot of that stuff you learn in the military. If you join the military, a lot of it is very, kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Common sense, I guess is the phrase. And if you yeah, right. I was thinking like not book smarts, right? It's funny, depending on your MOS or your job in the military, but it's kind of, homesteading gives you the same kind of skills, that I would say a grounds person or infantry would gain, or military police, while they're in the military. There's things that you do that you don't realize you need, like carpentry. You'd be surprised. We needed some pretty, I wouldn't even say basic, some pretty advanced carpentry skills in the military, and we learned it. You know who you learn it from? Each other. That's what's awesome. So how do you do it on the homestead, right? With each other, with family. Hi, Bean. This is Bean. He's one of the friends, and that's Arnold, and that's Bean. In our latest book, Arnold and Bean. This is our first of many campfire talks. It's a new playlist I'm doing where we're just going to kind of talk about everything going on. Right now, I'm talking about what is wealth in 2026. I wish someone just taught. I wish growing up we knew how to do things like that. So it's something I want to pass on. How do you diagnose a problem before calling someone else? Really, those skills build confidence. They teach you that most problems can be solved with patience and effort. If you trial and error, don't yell at them because they're holding the flashlight incorrectly or whatever. I'm sure you've seen those jokes. If not, that's all right. How to check the oil and change the oil, like I mentioned. Living on a homestead teaches things that can't really be learned in a classroom. You know, and whether you homeschool or you go to public schools or private schools, that's fine. It's okay where you stand on any of that. You know, everybody's okay there. It's fine. Our kids have seen goats give births. They've watched rabbits raise litters. They've watched chickens hatch babies naturally. You know, they've learned why we sometimes castrate bucklings. It's a big deal too, right? I mean, that's what better way to talk about the birds and the bees than living on a homestead, right? I mean, really. They've seen it with so many different animals, and they get the point. They get the picture. Why? Well, like I said, they've seen the chickens do it. They've seen the goats, the rabbits, etc. You know, look at these two, man. They are such best friends. I know. It's funny. You know, they've learned why breeding decisions matter and the responsibility that goes with it. They've learned that every life deserves respect and good stewardship. You know, those conversations aren't easy, like I was trying to say, but they're real. And I think that's important. So one thing the homestead has taught us is that ownership is temporary. The animals don't really belong to us. This land doesn't belong to us forever. Even our time, okay, our time doesn't belong to us. You know, as Christians, we believe every good gift comes from God. Our responsibility isn't to own everything. It's to faithfully care for what He's entrusted to us. Okay. I don't think people realize how valuable quiet is. I was actually just talking to the wife yesterday in the van. We were listening to music, and I turned it off for a minute, and I said, holy cow. I was like, this is, I was listening to the music, and then I turned it off, and I said, this is amazing. I said, do you hear that? I said, it's nothing, just quietness. And it's crazy because when I was growing up, I couldn't fathom, you know, going anywhere with no music. It was just insane. You know, out here, in the world, you just spend so much time and life surrounded by notifications, traffic, screens, constant noise, but not here. A lot of times you just hear the wind, or a goat trying to eat plastic off the buckets, or the ducks because they're hungry, or Arnold and Moo right here loving on each other. You know, rain falling on the roof. That's the kind of noise right there I'm talking about, the good kind. The goats talking, the birds. Peace. It's rare. You know, a lot of people on YouTube and in general in social media, you a lot of fear going on, fear mongering, I like to call it. And even in the prepping community, there's nothing wrong with prepping. Prepping's great. Please do prep. But at the same time, don't live in fear, okay? You know something else we discovered? Good neighbors. Real wealth is good neighbors. People who check on you when you're away. People who check on your animals. People who lend a hand, you know? People who celebrate when your fruit trees finally produce. People who pray with you when life gets hard. Community is wealth. I think people misunderstand what self-sufficiency is too. It's not about proving we don't need anybody. We all need each other. We do. You know, whether we like people or not, we need each other. It's about becoming more capable and growing some of your own food. Very, very important. And learning practical skills. That might sound a little generic, but I'm serious. Learn some practical skills. Like I mentioned earlier, fixing fences. You know, what kind of screws do you need? Wood screws. Can you use wood screws in a ceiling fan? Changing your oil. Just the I'm telling you, the random, it sounds random, but like the things that the skills, the practical skills, be prepared. We need that stuff, okay? Being able to help someone else when they're struggling. And if you don't know how to do it, it's okay. That's why I'm hoping that's why we have each other, right? Look at that. Minnie scratching his back. That is so cute. You know, being able to help someone else when they're struggling, that's the security we need, okay? The older I get, the more I realize time is our greatest currency. You can always make another dollar. You can't make another childhood, okay? It's gone. It's fast, you know? We got one that's in the teens right now. And then what? When you become a teenager, you only have, 5 years till you're an adult? That's it. You only get, your teen years are on one hand. I mean, and if you're a parent, your teen, again, only has those years on one hand. So, you know, one day they're not going to be little anymore. They won't always be excited to collect eggs, or dread it. The teenager's not very excited about that, but that's all right. They won't always be able to be around to feed the animals or ride in the old farm truck while we check fences, you know, down there, going down the horse pasture, you know, checking any down trees or fences and things of that nature. That's where the wealth is. So if someone asked me, what does real wealth look like in 2026? I would tell them, looks like topping off water buckets before the afternoon heat. Looks like fruit trees planted today that your grandchildren might enjoy one day. I'm just talking to our papa recently, and I was looking at his, you know, fruit trees, and he was telling me about how old the peaches were and stuff. And it really, it's amazing. It's a generational thing. It's something you can pass down. It's awesome. Neighbors who care. Fixing a broken fence instead of waiting for someone else to do it. A marriage that grows stronger. Children learning responsibility. Animals that depend on you. A quiet evening on the porch. Faith in Jesus Christ. Not because life is easy, but because you know where your hope comes from. Real wealth is not having more. It's needing less, okay? It's building a life your family doesn't need a vacation from. People ask us, well, how do you go on vacation? Guys, what are you escaping from? When you need vacation, okay, define vacation first of all, because what are you trying to escape from? That's what I'm getting at, all right? Oh, you know, you can't go on vacation. What are you running from? Where are you trying to go? I mean, you know, I don't know. To me, vacation is a kind of a funny term. Don't get me wrong, we go on trips and do things and see things as well, but I think vacation's a funny term. If this little homestead teaches our children to work hard, love their neighbor, and care for God's creation, I'd say we're already richer than we've ever imagined. That's the first campfire talk. I want to thank you for being a part of Diamond Trail Ranch. God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.